Welcome to our Whalar From Home with our special guest, Lauren Giraldo. Really excited to have her join us. Our host today is Karyn Spencer, our SVP of Partnerships. Little house rules shout out, if everyone could stay on mute and keep your camera off, this really helps with connectivity. You will see in your top right-hand corner, there's a chat box. Karyn's going to run a Q&A for 15 minutes at the end. But if you want to throw some questions in there as we go, as they come to mind, that's fine. If you could just state your name and then put your question there. It is an open chat box, so keep it family friendly. A little bit about me. I head up our marketing at Whalar, so I'm not talking much today. It'll be Karyn and Lauren, who you've come to listen to. If you do want to talk to me about any partnerships, my details will be at the end of the show. So Karyn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Karyn, as Jo said, the SVP of Partnerships for Whalar. A big thank you to all of you for tuning in. Appreciate you being here with us today. I would love to tell you all about Lauren Giraldo in case you're not a fan already. If you aren't following her, may I just suggest that you do it now. Lauren has 826,000 followers on Instagram, 89,000 followers on TikTok, and she's just started publishing over there. 642,000 followers on Twitter and 947,000 followers on YouTube. So close to 1 million. But as anyone who works in digital knows, having a large social footprint isn't the metric that matters. Smart marketers look at engagement rates, and Lauren's average is almost 7%. That's 5% higher than the industry benchmark. She was a staggering success on Vine, and after its demise, she not only migrated her audience to other platforms, but she grew them significantly. Not everyone was able to do that. She's a creator who's been able to strike a balance between being aspirational and accessible. Her followers have seen her travel the world and experience things that they wish they could, so they trust her advice and recommendations, but she keeps it real with them and spills the tea, so they feel like she's a friend. Many of her fans have grown up with her and stayed with her as she's been publishing social media content since she was a teenager. And I first met Lauren in 2015. She was 17 years old. I was the head of creators at Vine, and Lauren's fantastic manager, Clayton, brought her in for a general meeting. And since then, she has starred in 2 scripted series that I've produced, one for Vine and one for AT&T. And last year, when I was the head of influencer partnerships at Target, she was one of the first influencers who I signed into an annual program called Target Talent. And that's a group of creators who work with Target every month to create original assets, highlighting whatever the focus is at that time. And Lauren was absolute perfection to work with, every brand's dream, not only creating super fun and relatable videos that also worked well for Target's main social channels, but she over-delivered and was very proactive, bringing ideas to the table, lending her creative strategy and thought leadership to every department who wanted to work with her. So welcome, Lauren. Thanks so much for being here today.
Hello, Karyn. Hi, everybody.
So you're a 22-year-old woman living in LA with her boyfriend. Can you tell us what quarantine has been like for you guys these last few weeks and what has changed?
It's been interesting. I mean, the general feeling that we feel is we feel blessed, we feel safe, we are home and we're healthy. And it hasn't changed much. You know, I'm such a homebody that I'm so used to being home anyways. This is like not that much of a transition for me. But, you know, the thing that's been a little tough has been, especially with my age range that I'm in, I feel like it's my demographic and the people that are my age that are the first to be let go of their jobs. Not a lot of us have seniority. So, you know, as a group, we're kind of going through it, and it's tricky. You have to be really sensitive of that. And for me, it's tricky to know what to talk about, how to be somebody that's, you know, positive and a light in this time, but not being, you know, too happy, too sad. It's a tough time right now for everybody, especially in my age, except we don't really have kids. So that That was kind of good.
Yeah, you're talking about your demographic. We know that about half of your followers are age 18 to 24. So have you seen what they've been commenting on your posts and your videos and in your DMs? Has what they've been talking to you about changed in the last few weeks?
Yeah, there's an overwhelming feeling of anxiety just across the board, and everybody's going through a tough time. For a lot of people, this is, the hardest time they've ever gone through. Again, we don't have seniority at our companies. A lot of people in my age range have student debt and bills, and everybody's really just going through a tough time. But, I think on the other side of it, people are just really bored in my comments. Like, they're a lot longer than they typically are. I think people have more time on their hands. Like, I've been getting a bunch of DMs because people are so bored. So it's been good.
And Google told us that the search for how to make a TikTok video was up 400% in March. So we know that people have a lot more time on their hands.
Yeah.
I saw that you posted this week about the restaurant Tao's coronavirus efforts as they were trying to help their wait staff. And I feel like so many organizations and brands are trying to figure out right now how to get their messaging out there without seeming callous or saying something that's controversial in today's climate. So I was wondering, what is it that inspires you to promote something like that or align yourself with a charitable cause or effort around the coronavirus? And how do you gut check those decisions?
So as much as I genuinely already authentically love Tao, the focus of that was on the workers. And if you want to relate, no one is going to relate to his CEO. And when I was posting that, I wasn't, thinking of the CEO and how he's doing in his mansion of this, he owns this multi-million-dollar company, and it's not something that even crossed my mind because they focused it on their workers. I was thinking of the busboys. I was thinking of the waitresses. So because, yes, this is already like something that I already love, because it was focused on the workers and not this company that's so large, it was able to, strike my heart. And for that reason, I was happy to share.
Obviously, the current state of affairs is an emotional roller coaster for everyone. I know that personally, I jump from laughing at a meme to crying at the news and distracting myself with a Netflix show. We're all sort of trying to figure out how to process this new normal. But what I know for sure is that what's going on will dramatically change how we relate to each other and the world forever. And in one of your recent videos, you said that we should just get through every day, day by day, which I think is super helpful. The advice around staying present seems paramount right now. What else has been working for you as I think you called yourself a Latina in quarantina?
I feel you. Like, I watch 2 hours of the news every day. I'm like addicted to those Trump live streams. It's horror. I can't stop. Like, never have I cared about what he has to say, and now I'm like, I can't stop. It's so toxic. But I'm there. I'm wrapped into this whole news vortex, and then what gives me my sense of normalcy is going back to social media and watching my people on YouTube and feeling that sense of normal in the air. And what I've been telling my followers and what I've been telling myself is that it's not a productivity race right now. And, for a lot of people, this is the worst time in their life. Like, people are sick, people are out of jobs. So right now, what I'm just trying to get across to people is to, be kind to yourself, be generous with yourself, and try to practice self-care if you can, and take this time as a reset, because what else can we really do?
Yeah.
But with all my news spirals, I can't stop watching the news. It's so toxic. YouTube is like it's two sides of the spectrum. It's either like toxic Trump or like Jeffree Star.
Okay. Well, you and I worked together for Target last year, and you're still one of their annual ambassadors. I really believe that the best way forward for any brand who needs a steady drumbeat of social and digital content is to work with creators on a long-term contract basis. I think it gives both partners a chance to learn about how the other one works, and each side is motivated to be a great partner to the other because success is mutually beneficial. I loved flying you into the Minneapolis headquarters and introducing you to all of the executives and giving you a real peek behind the curtain into everything that Target stands for. And I think it created a measurable impact on the work. Can you talk a little bit about how and why you think that model is more appealing for creators?
Yeah, that was one of the most helpful things I have ever experienced with a brand. Obviously you get, on my perspective, you get this deal with Target and it's great, but it's so overwhelming and so intimidating because it's such a huge corporation and you're like, I was at least a little scared. It's intimidating, but then going there, meeting them, hearing the message, hearing what everybody stands for, and meeting these people that have such high positions and high job titles that on paper, it really is intimidating. And then meeting them and having that face-to-face and having discussions where my opinions were welcomed and it felt more of a collaborative talk, like, we're trying to promote this right now. What are your thoughts? And having that dialogue made me feel a part of it and not just like, not like I'm going to send some content over to some place in the country for it to be judged, by a random person sitting at a desk, like yes or no. Having that face-to-face and really getting to understand how we're all going to do this together made me so excited to create my content. Like Karyn literally set up, guys, like we talked to like the CEO of Target, which is so crazy. He came, he talked to us, he took time out of his day. And I mean, it took him 25 minutes of his day, but for me at least, I was like, damn, this is actually insane. Like I'm sitting here with the CEO of Target, he's telling us and me how we're important to him, and it made me just so much more of a passionate person about the company. And all of my content from that point forward was like, it was just so good. I think, at least, because I had a sense of pride in it and I wanted to make the team at Target proud, and I wanted to just really deliver, because after meeting them, it changed everything.
Yeah, I think we get hung up on the fact that everything that we work in is digital and social sometimes, but at its core, it's all about human-to-human connection. So I feel like anytime a brand can connect directly with the creators that they're working with, the benefit of them being able to put a human face on a brand is so important. And for any brand executives listening today, of course, I can't reveal anything confidential, but I can tell you that the data behind Target's partnership with Lauren is very encouraging as far as the results around converting her audience commercially. They're invested in Lauren's passion for Target, and they get excited about the connection that they feel to her when they shop there. They tag her in their posts, they buy what she buys. I mean, half of her audience is now spending their days at home in silky loungewear PJs because Lauren told them how much better it made her feel to be in those instead of schlubby sweatpants. And I just think the inspiration that people experience when you tell them what products you like, Lauren, is so amazing. And I think so much of it comes down to you being really authentic. And the takeaway here, and what I advise clients, is that the influencers you work with need to be a fan of what you're selling. Don't just hire influencers and tell them to say they love something. Sometimes, especially if you're a smaller company, it's harder to find creators who are both successful and an actual fan of your product, but push yourself to find them, and you create a trust between your brand, your audience, and those creators. And I feel like audiences can just smell bullshit a mile away, and setting up a false situation is what oftentimes gives influencer marketing a bad name. And Lauren, I wouldn't hire you to post about a tire company. I'd want someone who really loves cars, who speaks to an audience of people who really love cars. So I'm wondering, have you ever felt the difference and seen that difference in performance when working for a brand that you really love versus working for a brand that you're less passionate about?
Well, you're right, Karyn. They really can smell bullshit from a mile away. for example, I worked with a brand once that I organically used, and it just didn't land with my audience. And I've learned through that you really have to think about your audience before, during, and after you're creating the content. And you have to think about, who you are, and whether, even if it's something you organically love, is it gonna hit, with the type of audience that you have. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, I've caught myself at Target making like 12 frame story sets randomly about the new fashion line that came out because I'm so excited about it, and I think my audience is just going to be equally as excited about it. And it was totally like not a deliverable. I mean, it's just something that I'm super passionate about. And I love when brands understand that we're the creators and we create, and when we're given less limitations, and when we're allowed to speak and have that dialogue with the brand, like, what do you love about this brand? What do you love about this company? What are some of your favorite products? What are some of the products that you've been using? And when they are open to hearing that and open to us incorporating that, rather than, an example would be, this is the product we're launching next month, so we're going to hire you to talk about that this month in anticipation of next month's launch. When brands are open to hearing, personal experiences and why we love something, and they're down for us to talk about that, it's super helpful.
As a lifestyle vlogger, you talk about beauty and fashion and healthcare and fitness and food and home design, really everything that matters to you. And this makes you an ideal spokesperson for so many companies. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the brands that you've been working with lately besides Target?
Yeah. So I work with a lot of brands. Some of my favorites are NYX Cosmetics, who I just started a long-term partnership with them. And I also started a long-term partnership with one of my favorite skincare brands of all time, Dermalogica. And this has been amazing. Obviously, long-term is preferred. You get to really understand the brand. The brand gets to really get a sense and a feel of who you are. And when it's collaborative like that, similar to a Target, and, I think the reason Target is so successful is because it feels so collaborative, and my opinions are welcome. And, with these two sponsorships that I just mentioned, they have that same feel to them. It's a collaborative conversation. They understand that I'm the creator. They understand that I know how to create, and I understand that their brand is great, and I love them organically. So, having sponsors that are right in my lane, like skincare and makeup, plus having that creative freedom and that relationship with them, I feel like it is perfect.
So you're seeing a lot more offers these days that are around long-term partnerships instead of one-off transactional sponsored posts?
Yeah. And I always think about what the audience is going to resonate with the most. And I, as much as I am a content creator, I'm also a viewer. Like, I watch YouTube nonstop, and I'm obsessed with YouTube and Instagram and all the platforms. So me, myself, when my favorite creator is talking about something genuinely, all the time, and I associate it with who they are as a person, I believe it more. With a one-off deal, you can tell. I can smell it watching somebody's channel, so I know my audience can smell it as well. But when I'm in these long-term partnerships, I'm so inclined to like love the brand that I'll talk about it randomly all the time, and people just associate it with me in general.
Right. So let's talk about 12-3-30, because as you know, I'm obsessed. You shared a simple, manageable exercise routine a while ago with your followers that helped you get in shape, and that is walking on a treadmill at a 12 incline at 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes, which I love because it's so manageable, it's relatable, and above all, achievable. And you personally transformed yourself with this realistic approach. And now so many people make their own 12-3-30 success videos and tag you in their journey. So what has this been like for you to start a bit of a fitness revolution?
So some background information about myself. Oh my gosh, if I were to look at myself at 17 years old and talk to myself, I honestly wouldn't believe that I would get to this point that I'm at now. I was the textbook definition of like sedentary lifestyle, like the most unhealthy person, so overwhelmed by the gym. Like, I just, I was not that person. Like, Lauren, Giraldo, and Fit would not be in the same sentence together. And I was just feeling really unhealthy. I wasn't happy with the way that I would wake up and feel. I wasn't happy with the habits that I was doing. So I started 12-3-30 through trial and error. I was just on the treadmill, trying a bunch of different combinations, something that I would like. And for some reason I stuck with 12-3-30. And this was a way to get me in the gym to do one thing. And regardless of my day, I would get to the gym, get my ass there, do this one thing and feel good about myself and have that confidence that I wasn't used to feeling, especially when you go online and there's all this content of, all these gym girls. It's so overwhelming. You have these gym guys, everything looks crazy, these machines, these squats, these weights. It's too much, especially for me at that point. So overwhelming. But 12-3-30 was really the foundation of my fitness journey. And after doing that for a year and a half, 2 years, now I'm at this point where I have a trainer and I'm training 3 times a week. And I'm one of those, fit people. I'm healthy. Like I can pick up the weights. I know what I'm doing. And if it wasn't for 12-3-30 giving me that confidence, I genuinely would not be at this point. And every time I go on YouTube, I see people making videos like I did Lauren Giraldo's 12-3-30, and I watch them and this is so embarrassing, but I cry at them because it's so cute. I cry every time. It's so bad. I feel like a proud mom, but yeah, people love it. And the thing that I think is the best is, I've seen such a change in my life, not even physically, but just personally and with my health. And now my audience is experiencing the same positive change, and we're all in this together.
I love it. I can't wait for the 12-3-30 merch. Sign me up. I am the first one to want a hoodie, but I will just be sitting here on my couch watching it. And, watching you across all social platforms, I feel like you've really cracked the formula on the approach to every format. Like on Instagram, you post gorgeous pictures of yourself, but then you come right back with a goofy shot or an unfiltered image, and your tweets are more just observational short jokes. And on YouTube, I feel like you've mastered not just the quick edits that keep audiences engaged, but great captions and thumbnails that grab people's attention. And you've established a reliable posting schedule that keeps the algorithm happy. So how did you develop this strategy to ensure that you're not taking the same approach for every platform? Did you look at other creators who were ahead of you in this game, or just analyze what worked for each platform as a whole?
So, I'm a 22-year-old girl. Regardless of if I was an influencer or not, I would still, I would like to believe I would still want to have a pop-in Instagram. I would still want to have a Twitter. I am my audience is how I like to think about it. If I wasn't doing this, I would still put effort towards all of my social media platforms. I don't really know many people my age or any age that don't care about their social media or want to have a good social media. So I think that helps me because it's something. But I listen to my audience. I really do. I take like 3 hours every time I post a video and I read every single comment. And it's two-way street in the sense that while I am, an influencer, I don't treat myself as one, nor do I treat my audience as fans. It's just more of this open dialogue, open relationship that I have that allows me to listen to what they like and post on different platforms because, I'm a viewer as much as I am a creator, and I love Instagram in way different ways than I love YouTube. And as far as like you saying the consistency on YouTube, that really is what it's all about. It's about consistency and transparency and just always being there.
Yeah, you've said before, my favorite TV show is YouTube, which I think is something I am still trying to help brands understand who want to reach people your age and below, that YouTube is a platform that I don't think brands spend enough time on or creative energy on, because it's intimidating for them to understand what content works. And with your most successful video on YouTube so far, the one about working with a fashion stylist for a month, you tried on all of the outfits that he prepared for you and critiqued each one. That video has 3.7 million views. And I'm wondering, did the success of that teach you anything about what the YouTube audience is looking for? Did you gain any insights from that experience?
Yeah, that video taught me that YouTube is really sometimes all about a good, intriguing thumbnail and a great title. I also think the concept of that video was pretty great. And something funny about that video is, as it's my most viewed video on YouTube, it's sponsored. It's a sponsored video. It's sponsored by Playtex. And going into that one, I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm doing a video about a stylist, I mean, it might not be a whole video about my period, but I'm assuming that the majority of the people that are going to watch this are going to be women. So I asked them if they were down with that concept. They said yes. And now it's my most viewed video on YouTube. And that really just taught me to, you know, pitch ideas that may not seem like a perfect organic fit and not be afraid to get shot down because it's not, it's not on paper such a perfect match, but in execution.
Yeah, that's a really interesting angle. Lauren Giraldo made a tampon sponsored YouTube video and it got 3.7 million views. And now with TikTok entering the sphere and dominating the social media space last year, it was the most downloaded app of 2019. Have you seen brands doing interesting things there? What's the best ad campaign that you can remember on TikTok so far?
By far the best ad campaign that I've seen on TikTok that's almost too genius that it's so smart for me to comprehend is e.l.f. Cosmetics, which, if you don't know, e.l.f. stands for eyes, lips, face. They came out with this song and it was like, let me see your eyes, do that things with your lips, face, 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 face. So the song went viral and all of these makeup influencers, all of these regular people, everybody was posting makeup videos to this song that just so happens to stand for the acronym of their brand. It was so genius. So then you have people like James Charles organically posting this video, and at the bottom it says sound by e.l.f. Cosmetics. It was huge. It was such a huge song, and every video that I saw to it was makeup related. It couldn't have, that blew my mind.
And they ended up recording the full length version of that song and put it on Spotify, and it did quite well. So
I didn't even know that, but I'm about to download it.
Yeah, they hired a producer to make a 15-second song with eyes, lips, face in it. And then it just blew up and, like you said, went viral. And so it was really about creating an original song for the brand that was sticky, but also educational about the brand, because I didn't know that e.l.f. was eyes, lips, face before that. So it was an aha moment for the value proposition of the brand, an original song that was ownable for them. And then they seeded it with a group of people on TikTok to make sponsored videos. And then it took off from there. So I think as a case study around what works on TikTok, that's certainly one of the ones that everyone is studying and trying to replicate. But also back to that conversation that we were having about authenticity, I think at every step of it, they were making sure to work with people who felt passionate about makeup, and the performance that all of them gave on TikTok had that combination of, sure, makeup was a part of each one of those TikTok videos, but it was also, I felt like there was some comedy involved, like Brittany Broski's was really funny. And so it felt lighthearted and something that people could have a lot of fun making themselves. So on TikTok, you're just starting over there. What have you been focusing on? Do you think you're going to become a TikTok dancer, or are you going to work on some other kind of content over there?
I've tried to become a TikTok dancer, and I'm just not a dancer, but I do have fun with it. It takes me like 4 hours to learn a 15-second dance, so it's just not efficient. I've made a bunch of fashion videos, which are my favorite ones to make on TikTok. They're so fun. It's like it was swiping in and out of different outfits. Oh my God, it's so much fun. But TikTok is just, the reason that I love TikTok is because you can do anything on it, and it really isn't a one-dimensional platform at all. I could just do whatever I'm in the mood for that day, which is what really gets me excited about TikTok.
What's your process opening the app? Do you start looking at the For You section, or do you look in the hashtags to consider something to hop in on? Or as somebody who's 22, what is it like when you're using TikTok?
I always go to my TikTok and just scroll, and it's like they know me. Little worried about that,
Yeah.
but it's perfectly tailored to me. Every single piece of content I enjoy. And then I go on my boyfriend's TikTok and I see what he sees, and he sees like Call of Duty and totally different. It's perfect for him. So yeah, they're watching us.
So when we think about brand deals, can you give us your favorite example of working with a brand and tell us what they did to make it easy for you? I know that sometimes we see these like confusing 10-page briefs from brands that are really detailed and confusing for creators. Can you talk about the ideal situation for you in working with a brand?
Yeah, so I mean, my favorite brand working with has been Target. I mean, we really got to know Target and got to really meet the team and immerse ourselves into it. And, you know, we really got to do the most with Target. And for that reason, obviously, it's my favorite. I also just love Target. But I mean, for these brands, you know, that want to take elements of this, you really don't have to go that intense with it. If you don't want to, you can dip your toe in the water. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a creator out to dinner, and even something as simple as that is such a game changer. You have such a different perspective on the brand. You have such a different, you know, meaning with the partnership, and getting to know somebody and getting to have that human, you know, contact and relationship changes pretty much everything. And yeah, I mean, what would be great for brands to understand is that ideal partnerships are giving us the freedom and that we know our audiences, and those 10-page briefs, if anything, are limiting. And you know, I understand, I've done this so many times. I understand that the brands want to, you know, in theory, get the most bang for their buck and have us say the maximum amount of information in the time slot and get, you know, all their bullet points and everything that they're proud of and they want to share across to the audience. But, you know, a lot of the times that really does not translate, and it ends up shooting them in the foot. So allowing the creator to have that freedom while still giving a general direction of where, you know, where they really want us to land and the direction of what they're excited about. It's helpful for us to know that, but when things get too controlling, it becomes so limiting that it's like, oh my God, let me have the brief in front of me the whole time while I'm filming this so that I don't forget any of the talking points, so that I don't have to reshoot this, so that the brand doesn't get mad at me, and then we have to do this whole thing over again.
Yeah, I've seen some briefs that are like, okay, they need to say this, they need to make sure that they talk about these 3 things, but then there's also like, they've got to be clear on this, and then there's 3 hashtags, and it's a lot of product messaging. So what I'm hearing is the takeaway is keep it as simple as possible, really focus on emotion over promotion in terms of the marketing. And then behind the scenes, that you as a creator really value the relationships that you can build with brand executives, so that, you know, you and I have worked together for 5 years over 4 different companies. So I assume that for any executives who are interested in influencer marketing, who often focus on relationship building with other people in the marketing industry, but then somehow don't think about their relationships that they build with creators. And the first thing I do when I'm thinking about working with an influencer is I follow them on every social channel. I really want to see what content they're posting on a daily basis, not just for other brands, but their opinions, their thoughts, their tone of voice, and get to know their content before I work with them. And then, of course, when I'm starting to work with them, build that personal relationship. So I love that you're saying you'd be open to going out to a dinner or having just a personal conversation with a brand that you're working with, so that you do put a human face on the logo, right?
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't have said it any better. Now I forgot what beautiful sentence you said, but you said something so good. It was something promotion over, what'd you say?
Emotion over promotion.
Emotion over promotion.
Yeah.
That could not be any more important. Again, like I said, you really don't have to do the most. Like there have been, and it works. Like doing the most is going to work. Obviously, there have been brands that have taken me on luxurious vacations. And every time I think of that brand, I have the biggest smile on my face. And every time I'm going to talk about it, I'm giddy. But you really don't have to do that much. You don't have to do the most. But taking the simple human steps go an incredibly long way.
And I'm going to go over here to the chat box to Yaz, who says, "Hi, Lauren. As Karyn mentioned, you've just joined TikTok. I'd love to get your overall sentiment on it. Do you see yourself spending a lot more time creating and publishing for the platform as time goes on? And as a creator, do you have any worries about it or excitement towards it?" And I think we covered some of that, but maybe do you want to talk about whether or not you plan to spend more time creating on the platform?
Yes, I think we're all addicted to TikTok. So yeah, of course, I'm spending more time and creating more content on there. And quarantine has proven to be a really good time to do so. As far as my worries go for TikTok, I don't know how. I was just having a conversation with my boyfriend about this yesterday. I don't know how TikTok has managed, or if it just happened organically to be such a positive platform. But in ways that are totally different from YouTube and Instagram, the comment section on TikTok is so overwhelmingly positive, and not even in a way that feels like cheesy or politically correct or overly like censored at all. It's just genuinely a platform that has all this positivity and good sentiment towards it. So for that reason, I will be spending way more time on TikTok.
Great. And this is a question from Emily. How do you think brands should be approaching collaborations on TikTok in comparison to Instagram, with particular consideration for the current climate?
Like I said, this is a really hard time for everybody, but at the same time, we're all going on things like TikTok for that sense of relief and for that sense of normalcy. So treating it as that, I don't think there is that much of a taboo. If the content is not done insensitively, then it's just entertaining content during a time where we're all entertaining ourselves at home. And if I were a brand, I would make it as non-sponsored as possible, lighthearted, fun. That's all we all really want right now.
Have you done a TikTok brand deal yet?
I'm about to.
Did they let you choose your concept, or did they give you one?
So they asked for my concept, and then they were going to tell me if it was approved or not approved. I gave them my concept, approved. And I kept the concept very vague to allow myself to have that creative freedom, because I'm not going to give like a step-by-step frame 1, frame 2.
Right.
I'm just like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. They said yes. And now I'm excited to film it, not like, oh God, I have to stick to this script.
Kira asks, with the current climate, are you being more picky about the brands that you work with? And what's more important to you when deciding whether or not you will partner with a brand?
With the current climate, most of my business right now is long-term partnerships. So I've already agreed to work with them, and there hasn't been any difficulty really in creating content that's sponsored in this climate, since the content is very lighthearted and fun. And what was the second part of that question?
What's important to you when you decide whether or not to partner with a brand?
What's important to me is, do I think my audience is going to enjoy a collaboration with me and this brand? Above all, I have to realistically put myself in the position of, okay, I'm going to film a YouTube video tomorrow for X brand. Is this video going to go well? Am I going to be proud of the video overall? And a lot of the times it's questions like, okay, well, what does their brief look like? Can I see how they like to work with influencers? Do they like, a very big sense of control, or are they chill? Do they trust me to do the creative? And obviously, if it's a brand that I already organically love, then I'm way more inclined to be down.
Will asks, what has been your biggest learning experience as a content creator?
I've had so many learning experiences. I'd say the biggest thing that I've learned, especially, coming from Vine and then creating a new audience for myself on different platforms, is to always remain, yourself. And I feel like so many people try to make content, and so many people view social media as something that must be so easy for us. But, it really is tricky, and it is difficult, and it is hard. But what's made it easy for me is, always remaining myself and always speaking to the audience as if they're a person and not a number, and that's made my job really easy, you know, through the.
Yeah, I've seen examples of that when you're out in public, and a fan runs up to you, or I've been at meet and greets with you where fans have just been in line forever, and maybe it was only scheduled for you to meet with fans for an hour, but you want to stay there and talk to each person. So I think what I've noticed in watching you is that you actually do really care about the connection that you have with your fans and followers. And I think you don't even usually call them that, you call them friends. But also, like I was saying in your intro, you are somebody who can put on a gorgeous outfit and be modeling it. And so it feels very aspirational on your video, but then you'll like fall down and then leave that in your video. And so when I read the comments on your content, that's what your fans love, is that you're kind of giving them both sides of yourself and they feel like it's really real. And so that learning around keeping it authentic and staying true to yourself feels like you really have done such a great job of that, and it resonates with people.
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
Thanks. I'm really bad at taking compliments.
I know. Most women are. I was waiting for you to say thank you because I know it's a hard thing to say. Frankie asks, did your followers follow you over to TikTok, or do you think you're building a new audience there? And she thinks it's very interesting to hear that the comments are so positive over there.
So I don't really promote my TikTok that much on other platforms. And funny enough, it's weird. I'll post a TikTok and then I get a ton of comments like, "You have a TikTok? Lord, isn't this the girl from YouTube?" So with cross-platform promotion and whatever, a lot of the time, yeah, if you're already an established creator, you will get some followers right off the bat, like, "Oh, I like her videos." But a lot of the time, it's basically starting from fresh because each platform is different. Each platform has its own culture. Each platform is a different animal. And to view them all as the same is not how it is.
Kristen asks, have you found that some of your clients have put work on hold because of the quarantine?
Yes. So I was really worried about that going into quarantine. Not going to lie, one of my biggest concerns were, oh my God, are they all going to drop out? And to my surprise, no. And what I've been noticing is some of the deliverables have gotten pushed to later months. You know, nobody really knows when this is going to end. But, you know, for things that might be sensitive to talk about right now, things are just pushed to later months instead of just getting flat out canceled, which is nice.
And Clayton asks, hi Clayton, you have been a creator for more than 6 years. How has your audience changed as you've grown up?
So I've been doing this for a minute. I started when I was like 16 or 15 years old doing comedy on Vine. And when Vine, you know, got deleted, I was at this point and I was like, what about my audience? What about all these people? And I was at such a point where I felt like I was at a standstill and I'm like, oh my God, I lost everybody. So I took a minute, I took a beat, and then I came back onto YouTube and I didn't try to be who I was on Vine because that wasn't me for 10 minutes. That wasn't me for 12 minutes. That wasn't me for 15 minutes. That was literally me for 6 seconds. So being myself and, you know, taking YouTube to really just be who I am in a longer form and not focus so much about continuing the Vine audience actually, you know, grew my audience. I have a totally different audience now. But at the same time, it's so weird. A ton of my comments, a ton of the people I meet tell me I've grown up with you. Like I was 14 when I started watching you and now I'm like 22. It's weird. A lot of the people are still there and a lot of the people are completely new. But they've grown up with me, you know. We have all grown, which is insane.
Well, I love that. And I thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. This has been great. Shout out to everybody at Whalar who made it happen. Shout out to my dog, Rosie. He usually just sleeps, but was super active during this call. So sorry if that was distracting. And Lauren, on your side, I hope that you and Henny both stay safe and healthy. And again, really, Lauren Giraldo on all platforms, right? That's your handle everywhere you go. If you guys want to give her a follow, I can guarantee you that you'll have a good time with it.
Thank you. It was nice talking to you guys. I can't see you, but I'm sure you're all great.
Thanks so much.
Karyn, thanks everyone.
Bye. Stay safe.
Bye, Jo. Thank you.
Bye.